there other additions or changes to the agenda? Councillor Paula Banks.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a question about 13.1. We had changed the correspondence policy to just notify councillors if there were correspondence, so I'm just wondering how that got on the agenda.
I believe there was an email requesting that I put it on the agenda, but staff, do you have other information?
I believe a member asked the clerk to put it on the agenda.
Can I ask what member, please?
I did, because the person had asked that it be included on the package, so.
But I thought, since we were going to try to work together, that we weren't going to try to undermine other councillors by adding correspondence to the agenda.
Well, Councillor Banks, the policy indicates that if a member wants something on the agenda, it can be added to the agenda as an information item.
Okay,
So we can
then,
discuss at that point.
okay, thank you. Can I add an item to close then? I would like to add Ms. Gomes' correspondence to close and advice from the Integrity Commissioners.
Okay, I would look to staff. Is that on the agenda already?
It doesn't have to be on the agenda. I didn't know that this item was going to be on our agenda. So I've asked for advice from the Integrity Commissioner to resolve Ms. Gomes' issues, and I'd like to speak to that in close, please. Thank you.
Procedurally, are we allowed to do that?
Yes, we can amend when we go in, we'll include another item for,
Personal one?
or legal opinion. Or advice from the, yeah.
As long as I can speak to the letter and the Integrity Commissioners, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, any others? I have one to add as well as 14.2. We received correspondence from Dan Verdi, and I would like to add that as 14.2 to receive, note, and file that. Okay, is there any other discussion? Councillor Paula Banks.
I would oppose adding the correspondence for Dan Birdie. It is not authentic. It is a survey that's been manipulated, so I oppose putting it on the agenda. It's not a survey from it is a survey from SurveyMonkey, but it's not their official results. That group has modified and manipulated those results, so I was adding it to the agenda if I could get a recorded vote on that.
The correspondence does indicate
It wasn't in time for the agenda.
that how they modified the results to be more accurate, I believe.
I oppose
right.
adding it to the agenda if I could have a vote on that, please.
Okay,
It's not accurate information, they manipulate the numbers.
okay, I think we're drawing attention to it anyway, but
That's fine.
then I have a motion that is moved by myself. I second it, be it resolved that correspondence from Dan Birdie regarding referendum survey results be added to the agenda item under item 14.2. Do I have a seconder?
No.
Councillor Maxwell. Okay, any discussion on the motion? I've already heard some from Councillor Banks. And do you request a recorded vote on this?
I'd like to speak to it, please.
All right, go ahead.
I was told, I didn't go to see it, but I was told that the grassroots did a SurveyMonkey on having a referendum for this building, that there were over 1,500 votes casted, and they picked out, I think 100, I don't have it in front of me, but 142 of their choosing, and that is what they represent in the survey they sent to council. So they eliminated, I'm bad at math, but over 1,100 votes because they said, well, they eliminated 1,100 votes because they said they were suspicious, so I'm assuming they were a no to a referendum. So that's all we need to say. If you manipulate information before it's sent to the public, it should be inappropriate to be added to our agenda.
Okay. You requested a recorded vote on this?
Yes, please.
Okay. Madam, please call the vote.
So may I ask, the question is to add this to the correspondence for tonight's meeting. Is that what we're voting on?
That's what we're voting on, and my recommendation was simply to receive, note, and file it.
Thank you.
Note.
Councillor Jeff Banks.
No.
Councillor Carr.
No.
Councillor Delaney.
Yes.
Councillor Dunfield.
Nope.
Councillor Huddins.
No.
Councillor Maxwell.
Yes.
Councillor Pollard.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paula Banks.
No, sorry.
And Mayor Hoogan.
Yes. I believe the motion was defeated, so it will not be added.
No shit.
14.1. Moved by Councillor Pollard, seconded by Councillor Jeff Banks. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Rideau Lakes receives and files correspondence item 14.1. Any further discussion? Councillor Jeff Banks,
I
please.
won't be supporting filing this correspondence. I don't even want it on our books, so I will say I'm not gonna support it.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak to this? Councillor Hutchings?
I want to speak something at the very, very end. That's totally something that happened before. I just want to make it straight, that's all. So it's got nothing to
Okay.
do with this right now.
Now, the motion is to deal with this information.
Oh, I know, and I put my hand down because I wasn't.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't understand you were just going to speak about something different rather than.
I am after, if I
Okay.
can.
Okay, so I'm gonna call the question.
What?
Just to receive note, receive and file.
Keep it on file.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, it's just, it's what we normally do with correspondence, and not gonna take any further action on it.
I'm gonna just trash it.
We voted down.
On 13.
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion is defeated.
That was a 5-3.
So now we're on to new business. Proposed motion from Councillor Dunfield, amend the procedure bylaw respecting delegations. So, this is a very long motion. Do I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Banks.
No.
So that's not up there.
I'm getting there.
Okay, well, I'll start reading it then. Whereas Section 14 of the Procedure Bylaw 2023-48 provides opportunities for the public to attend council committee meetings in the form of delegation, and whereas Section 11.3 of the Procedure Bylaw provides that documentation and written reports to be included in a council or committee agenda shall be completed and made available to the clerk or committee secretary no later than 4 p.m. on the Wednesday immediately preceding the regular meetings. Now therefore be it resolved that a bylaw be brought forward to amend Section of the procedure bylaw to include that all delegations are required to submit a written statement and/or presentation, which will be included in the agenda packet no later than 4 p.m. on the Wednesday immediately preceding regular meetings in order to be accepted on the agenda. And further, that Section 14 also include the following. No person presenting as a delegation shall speak disrespectfully about any person, use offensive words or unparliamentary language, speak on any subject other than the subject that he or she received approval from the clerk, disobey the rules of order or a decision of council, return as a delegation to speak to the same subject matter, be promotional or for the purpose of generating publicity, reflect upon the motives of members of council who may have voted for or against a particular motion, reflect upon the motives of staff in giving advice to council, engage in debate during your presentation. You've heard the motion, discussion. Councillor Jeff Banks.
Yep, just want to keep everybody honest here, so I'd like to add on to this, make an amendment to this motion that documents be provided on issues mentioned.
Documents must be provided on what?
Issues that are mentioned by delegations.
Okay, I'm not sure that wouldn't be expected.
I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah.
I'm not
Well,
sure
so
that
if
would
somebody's gonna stand in front of us here and they're going to hold something in the air and they're gonna go like this with it, then we need to see a copy of it, because they're mentioning that document, so we need to see a copy of that.
Well, I think it's
document.
covered by the suggestion that they
It's
must,
not covered, it's not covered, so
they
I
must-
looked at it, yes.
must present what they intend to present in advance to the clerk. So they're not, if this passes, my understanding would be that they're not allowed to deviate from that.
Well, I don't see where it says they must put that in there, but
So could I, just example though, whenever Ken Watson was here, they held up the stamp, so that wouldn't be allowed.
why?
Because it deviates from the presentation and the speaking material.
Well-
Unless it was part of the presentation material provided to the clerk prior to the meeting.
Yeah,
So he would have to disclose that he was bringing props.
Yep.
yeah, everybody should have to do that, because then we don't run into the trouble where we're getting chastised by people from the general public over something, or the threat of releasing personal or private information. And I asked for it to be put on there, and if I can get enough folks and hands on it, then we can put that on there too.
Okay.
So I'm looking for support of that.
Sorry, I missed the wording.
Where would you add it?
Right at the very bottom, after engage.
But no deviation from the material provided be permitted,
Yep.
or something along that line.
Yeah, documents must be provided on issues mentioned. People can cover a lot of ground without any documents or backup for it, so. If I can get a seconder for that, or if that's okay.
Well, it's mine all along.
Oh, you will?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
That'll probably do it.
Okay, discussion on this, please. I have Councillor Dunfield, and then I have Councillor Maxwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, staff. You did a great job on this.
Yes.
Okay, Councillor Maxwell, please.
Thank you, Worship. I'm not sure the point of all this. Just, it looks like it's, I don't know, another attempt at, closing off an avenue for the public to have a means of
So,
voicing their opinions of what we're doing at council. So, I don't know, we'll just keep doing this, I guess. I'm gonna ask for a recorded vote on this again, though.
Okay, thank you. I will go to Councillor Delaney, I saw you next, and then Deputy Mayor Banks.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'm glad I wore red today, because you see me down here. I'd like to ask you, Your Worship, and our CAO, how other communities that you've been involved with, how other townships or municipal councils handle this with delegations. Have you seen anything this restrictive before?
I've certainly have not seen something of this nature. I expect that in the municipalities I've worked in, which is probably 8 or 10, delegations are expected to reveal the nature of their request. They're expected to stay in the timelines, they're expected to be respectful, but they're not expected to present word for word what they're going to be presenting, because that, to some extent, defeats the purpose of the delegation. If they're sending their little 10-minute rendition to us ahead of time, we don't need to have them stand at the podium and read that off, in my view. So that's my, staff can comment if they have a comment on that as well.
I've seen it done multiple ways. I guess what I can see happening with this, though, is people will now just revert to public questions in the audience.
Yeah.
Be what happens next.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then I have Councillor Delaney, that was your comment, thank you. Deputy Mayor Banks, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, if people start reverting to public questions, then I think councillors should be able to answer those individual questions. Some of these came from other townships, their guideline, that's where these came from. And it is necessary because we had Wendy Alford here preaching to us and berating us, I don't know, 2-3 times. May 13th, the mayor said that he wouldn't allow her to attack us, and it happened. November 4th, it happened again, nothing was done. And then instead of addressing it on November 12th, the mayor talked about our behavior instead of Wendy Alford's. And it shocks me actually that Wendy Alford would be so upset to see this, considering when she was a councillor in Smith Falls, she tried to block delegations there, she tried to block petitions there of over 4,000 people. And she tried to block, people coming back talking about the same issue over and over, which was parking. So I think Wendy's gonna understand this, so I'll support it.
Okay. Councillor Jeff Banks, the second time.
Yeah, spending some time on the internet and found out that there's quite a few municipalities put not just one or two, there's quite a few municipalities who put stipulations in their delegations for the same reason as we're kind of stating here today. So it kind of keeps everybody in check and keeps everybody honest, and I don't have any problem supporting this whatsoever.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak to this? I will simply state that parts of this I find quite appropriate. Other parts of it I feel are simply looking to stifle public participation. And that being, so I will not be supporting the motion, because, I mean, we don't have, you know, we don't have much in the way of weekly papers anymore, cover our entire district, and people do watch our meetings, and people should be able to feel that they can come forward with legitimate issues or legitimate concerns, or have an opinion on an issue, and be able to have their 10 minutes of airtime, if that's the necessity. And to sort of suggest, because the next thing that will happen is they will send something in, and if they deviate a word from that presentation, it'll be my job to cut them off potentially, or to say, I'm sorry, you can't make that additional comment, it wasn't part of what you submitted to us in advance. So as politicians, we have to be prepared to be able to hear some of these things. And listen, folks have had an opportunity to speak, and I have the opportunity as chair to speak last to an issue.
I didn't know you were finished, so I didn't know we were
You
done.
cut us off sometimes.
All right, I will entertain, but those are going to be my rules, and I give all of you the opportunity to speak at least to this thing twice.
I haven't spoken.
Yeah,
So I'm going to go to you, Councillor Hutchins, because you have not spoken.
So, if you are prepared to protect me by cutting somebody off who should have been cut off, then this is for nothing. But because you didn't cut her off, this is why it's being put in place.
Okay.
It was up to you. You could have cut her off, especially when she started saying that the stuff ain't closed. I'm finished.
Thank you. And Deputy Mayor Banks, please.
Again, I'm not sure why Wendy Alford would oppose this. These are exactly the things she tried to implement in Smith Falls when she was a councillor. So I'm not sure what the problem would be.
Okay. This is not necessarily directed to any one individual. This would be required of all delegations
Well,
according to this.
My point is, if they come and misbehave and you don't stop them when they attack us like you said you would, then we have to protect ourselves.
Okay. We are here to have to receive public criticism on occasion. Councillor Jeffs.
I'm 100%.
Last time.
I'm 100% in favor of being criticized, but I am not going to be berated in public
Or lied
by
about.
somebody, or libeled, or lied to, or slandered in public from anybody that stands in that podium. So,
Okay.
just so you're clear, so when the next person that tries that, I will call for a point of order and ask you to stop that person, because I won't put up with it. I'm criticized, I get it all the time, but not to be publicly berated. Absolutely not.
Anyone else to speak to this? I'll then call the clerk and call the vote.
Councillor Jeff Banks,
Yes.
Councillor Carr,
Yes.
Councillor Delaney,
Yes.
Councillor Dunfield,
Yes.
Councillor Hutchings,
Yes.
Councillor Maxwell,
No.
Councillor Fowler,
No.
Deputy Mayor Banks,
Yes.
Mayor Hoover.
No. Motion is carried.
Thanks, John.
That is a protection.
Okay, we are on to 15.2, proposed motion, Councillor Paula Banks, committee appointments. And is this a motion?
No, this is a.
This is the actual
proposed
motion.
Councillor Banks has an amendment she'd like to make.
So where is it?
Two-pager.
Well, there's your pager. Okay, I need a seconder for this motion. Councillor Dunfield.
And I have a friendly amendment, please.
As do I.
Okay, should I read the motion into the record first and then enter amendments?
Sure.
Dan,
Unless you wanna go with the friendly amendment that Councillor Banks is referring to, it's her motion. You can
well,
change it before
maybe
she-
we'll, if it's proper protocol, then I will deal with the amendments, proposed amendments first, and then we'll only have to have one vote rather than 3 or 4. Is that, if that's acceptable to
Yep.
everyone? All right, an amendment to the proposed motion as it is written.
Yes, please. So
Deputy Mayor.
it says now quorum would mean 50% plus 1 of members present, and it should say quorum should actually be 50% plus 1 of the appointees, not the members present.
Yeah,
Thank you.
makes sense.
So the appointed members could be members of the public as well.
Yeah, like our pack, like our packer,
We're not,
like George.
okay? Does anyone have a concern with that clarification? Hearing none, then I'll take that as a friendly amendment. And Councillor Dunfield, you have another one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a question, if I may ask the clerk before I offer this amendment. At the very beginning, it says bylaw 2023-48, section 10.6, under duties of the mayor/chair be removed in its entirety. If it is removed in its entirety, does that mean then that the mayor does not have any control or any, he's not, we can't be we are not appointed officially because the mayor has not done it?
The mayor always does it through, as a courtesy, does it through council, as a resolution of council.
Okay. So then
It would be a resolution of council.
it would still be a resolution, so the appointments would go forward and the stipends would be provided.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I, instead of actually asking that that be removed, that it be reworded to read that the mayor, after consultation with all members of council, announce which members of council will serve on which committees and boards.
It's like we're doing now.
So,
Yeah,
so,
We already did.
Yeah.
but, yeah, it's not in writing that happens, but that is what, the mayor does do. He consults with everyone
Right.
before the inaugural meeting, and he consulted, I believe, with everyone before, and then makes the decision based on how many people can be on the committee, based on the financial aspect of, evens it out financially for people. So some might be on 3, some might be on 5. It goes financially.
okay, so what I'm really, I'm concerned that we're taking a duty away from the mayor. That's all. And the mayor has some special duties, and this is one of them. So-
One of the few.
Yeah, so, and now we're taking it away from them, so I would like to not have that in there.
I would support that.
Yeah, so would I, Sue.
So
To reword it,
I'm not sure what we're suggesting, because the suggestion in the motion was to take 10.6 basically out of the procedure bylaw.
which says taking, it's one of your duties,
That's correct.
and I don't think we should take it out.
Well, historically, it's always been there.
Yeah,
even
So
with-
that's all,
even
and
with
just-
my- Even
yeah.
with my predecessors.
yeah, that's all, I'm just suggesting that we not have that.
Just take that wording out. That's what you're saying, just delete that wording.
Delete that line.
Is that what we're gonna do?
Yes.
Well, didn't I hear just Councillor Dunfield say to leave it in there?
No.
No.
No,
No.
we
No,
want it
it
removed.
says
No,
to be
this in the
removed
motion.
its entirety.
We want
Sorry.
it out of the motion.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
remove it from the
We're
motion.
gonna take it out so that it's not
Yeah.
removing it.
The eyes
Oh.
aren't
Can't
working,
believe it.
the eyes aren't working, the ears aren't working, you're falling apart.
No, but you're contributing to my confusion. I just want to put it that way.
Is it working?
Yes, it is.
Good.
And then a follow-up as
Sorry,
well?
before I leave that, am I taking this out? Because once I hit delete, I don't want to retype.
Yes.
Take it out, take it out.
Take it out. Take it out.
Thank you.
Good.
And then a follow-up, it says, further on down about at-large members shall be for 2 years. Why are they only on for 2? Why aren't they on for the whole term of council?
Public members, I think, are appointed for full
That's
term
the
of
way
council.
council passed their establishing bylaw.
That's a good point.
Well, do we all
For-
agree 2 years? Like, I think, once they get on, like, it takes about
Yeah.
2 years to figure out
Yeah.
what's going
I
on.
think 4. Term of council.
Do it.
So those are my 2 friendly amendments. Councillor Banks.
No, that's
Deputy
fine,
Mayor Banks.
I agree with that.
Yeah. It's true, it takes about
Okay.
just put for
Two
the
or 3
general
years to
council.
get onto it, and then you say it's done.
Other comments or suggestions on those amendments, or do I need to now read the motion?
You need to read the motion.
You're gonna have to tell me what's still in here and what is not in
Did
here.
you want me to read the motion?
Shelley, should you have appointed members on that line there? Nope, right,
Clean that up for me
50% plus
before I
one
read
of
it.
the appointed.
Oh,
Yes, we changed
Same
that,
as-
I changed that earlier, but there's in the second spot, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just give me 1 second.
Well, in a quorum, would we count anybody other than the appointed members?
Well, if the appointed members
I could
George
go
Bracken
as a
is an
guest.
appointed member,
Yeah, he's an appointed member.
But I
he
could
would
go
be
as a
counted as
guest.
a quorum.
I could be a councillor as a guest,
Yeah, but you wouldn't have a vote as a guest.
that's what we're saying.
This fixes it.
because before the motion said 50% plus one of the members present, but which isn't correct. It should be of the members appointed.
That's true,
Yeah.
that's true, absolutely. Okay.
Do you wanna just read this on the screen?
Sure. Will that be easier for you?
That would be easier for me, seeing as you marked this one all up. Okay,
It might be easier on your eyes to read on the screen.
you want me to
Yeah.
read it?
Yes.
Okay, I have a move by Councillor Paula Banks, seconded by Councillor Dunfield. Whereas members of the Municipal Council of Rideau Lakes are encouraged to be involved in their community by participating in various committees of council. And whereas under Section 10 of the Procedure Bylaw 2023-48, it states the mayor selects the members of council who are to serve on committees and boards. And whereas the mayor has prepared a list detailing which council members are to sit on committees and boards for the next 2 years of this current term of council. And where some members of council have expressed an interest to be appointed to additional committees, now therefore be it resolved that a bylaw be brought forward to amend the following. Bylaw 2023-09, establish planning advisory and committee of adjustment. Section 2 be amended to read that the planning advisory and committee of adjustment shall be comprised of any member of council who wishes to sit on the committee and one member of the public. These appointments are to be made by resolution of council. Section 5 to be amended to read quorum shall mean 50 plus one of the appointed members. Bylaw 2017-57, establish economic development committee. Schedule A under administration be amended to read the economic development committee shall be comprised of any member of council who wishes to sit on the committee. These appointments are to be made by resolution of council. To be removed, appointment of regular members shall be at the discretion of the mayor as per the procedural bylaw. Now, why would we say in the motion to be removed? We would
Yeah,
just-
we need to remove that.
Yeah, so we'll have to amend
Just
that
delete that.
to remove that part.
Okay. Okay, where am I now?
Sorry, we're on Economic Development Committee?
Let me read that portion again then.
This,
Yeah,
sorry,
just
this
a
one's
minute.
going away?
Something,
Yeah. So the appointment of regular members shall be at discretion of the mayor as per
Yes.
the procedural bylaw.
This is going away?
careful.
I
Yeah.
think
You
it
got
just
it on
says
card.
to be removed, should be, like, I think Marion's right.
So right now, it states in the establishing bylaw for the Economic Development Committee that the appointment of regular members shall be at the discretion, at the direction of the mayor as per the procedural bylaw. Which means,
So,
so you remove the section.
so the mayor appoints the,
Members.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit.
why doesn't the committee appoint the members?
No, the mayor should have that.
Yeah.
That
But-
Is there something else?
But that's what I'm saying,
That's his duty.
but he didn't appoint, what's his name, on planning?
Yeah.
No, we voted on that.
Yeah, but
So as per the procedural
Yeah.
bylaw right now, the mayor does not have to come and say to council, or provide a resolution of council. That's courtesy that,
That's the mayor's prerogative.
yes, that he appoints you all to committees and boards of council.
But then how did we get the guy on planning, because we voted on him?
Yeah, so, that's right, as courtesy, the resolution comes to council. It doesn't state it in the procedural bylaw that a resolution has to come
So
to
he could
council.
You
appoint
pa- you
anybody.
passed
same
your
with
own motion to add
Mr.
people
French,
to
who
the
sits
board.
on Heritage.
Right, they all
Yeah.
come to council.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So are we taking this out?
I don't
Those
know.
3 words just need to be.
So the
taken
procedural
out.
bylaw right now states the mayor does,
So I can decide You know, if everybody in council wants to be in a committee, I can decide that I'm only gonna appoint 4 of you, or 5 of you, or whatever the case might be.
Well, I want it removed.
Well, and
Because-
I just heard Councillor Dunfield say, leave it stay in there.
That's why I wanted
Yes.
this wording that I had written down.
You just need to take out that last sentence. I just don't feel that the mayor should be able to pick one citizen to sit on the committee. I think we should do it the way we did, and I'm drawing a blank of what his name is.
George?
George.
Yeah.
George, we got applications, council read the applications, council decided. And I think that's the way it should be
Yes.
worded.
That's not happening
And
for
I don't
economic
have a
development.
problem
Right.
with citizen appointments.
But that's what I'm saying, the mayor, under, Mary Ellen's saying, under the bylaws, the mayor could have went ahead and appointed anyone without coming to council. And I
Okay,
don't agree with that.
I see that.
Because he could, the mayor, our next mayor could say, I don't want George Bracken, I want someone else.
My brother.
Exactly. So it should be by council appointment.
My brother doesn't want to be on that committee.
So I would like that changed to appointed by council.
But I didn't think we were talking about public members, I thought we were
Well,
talking there about.
I'm
To
talking
me,
about
there's
the
a
whole
difference.
system.
To me, there's a difference between public members, which I think should be advertised, we should give the
Yes.
consideration and
Yes.
council should select.
Because they weren't
That's
elected.
different from appointing paid members from council to the various committees to sort of,
Right, but-
because my goal has always been divide up the workload, give people their first choices or their second choices, and then make sure that everybody has reasonably equal workload. And we all have the opportunity to switch up committees if we want to switch up committees, or stay in committees if we want to stay in committees. And that's what I always try to do. It protects the members so that one member doesn't end up with, you know, $4,000 in extra committee work and someone else ends up with $500
We're
in
only
extra
talking
committee work.
about 2 committees.
Okay?
We're only talking about 2 committees, and I feel as a council member, if I ran in an election, and I want to sit on economic development, and I want to sit on planning, that I should be able to, and to represent the people that I came to. If Linda doesn't want to sit on it, she doesn't have to. But I ran in the same election you did, and I feel that council should have more say on committee appointments, not one person. Because one person could have bias against members and not appoint them fairly. And
I don't believe I've done that in the
Well,
past, so.
I disagree with that, but I'm just saying I would like this bylaw changed, please.
And I will not support that, because I
That's
think
okay.
the mayor has an obligation to
Yeah.
make sure that the workload is divided
Yes.
reasonably well, and that we're not adding additional cost, because every member of council that's appointed to a committee gets an honorarium, and and then we should be moving away from per committee honorariums
then-
and do the full,
Why did the
full.
2 councillors get to stay on the conservation authorities then?
Because
Debbie would
they-
like to sit on one.
They requested it, and I was looking to balance the
Debbie
workload.
said that was one of her first choices.
Well, and Debbie also said that she had other first choices, so. Don't speak for other members of council, let
Okay.
them speak for themselves, you know.
Harry, I'm allowed to speak, like,
I know,
you speak for us all the time.
Mr. Mayor, question?
Down at the end?
How come just development, economic development, how come we haven't put maybe like the Lake Association up here? Because we all would probably like to be on that committee.
That's what I want.
well, and it's, you know, and you have to understand that some of these committees, you know, when you have when you have 5 or more members of a council on a committee, that effectively becomes a council meeting. That effectively is treated as a council meeting for all intents and purposes. And you can get into a lot of trouble making decisions at a committee level that no longer have to be ratified by council. That was one of the reasons we tried to keep, committee appointments to 4, so that we didn't end up in that kind of conundrum where somebody might challenge a decision that was made at committee that should have been made at council. So that's the other concern that I have in terms of 9 members of council. If you put 5 on a committee, you end up, there's a risk. I'm sorry, there's just a risk. And I've seen it happen in other municipalities. So that's the reason why none of the committees had more than 4 initially, but then council voted to add people to the planning committee, and that's fine. That was their prerogative, and they're willing to take that risk.
Okay, way down at the end?
You're not wearing.
So, are we now understanding what motion they want?
No,
I think they want it to be removed,
just,
Okay,
which means we leave that in.
Jeff Banks, please.
yeah, so I don't have a problem with getting the Rideau Lake Association on, because we need more people on that committee that have a voice from this table, but I don't know of anything that's done at a committee that is not ratified at council, that we can go ahead and make a decision, because every set of minutes and everything has to be ratified at council before any decisions are made, so. It doesn't matter how many members are at there, and I don't understand, and I know Mary Ellen is at us all the time about this, but you can't advance council business at a, like a picnic or anything, because you have to have it ratified here. We can discuss council business, but you can't, and
Yep.
I guess I have to have a sit down with Mary Ellen and have that explained to
Or
me,
our
because,
municipal solicitor who will tell you otherwise, but that's okay.
but you have to
Now,
advance business.
I would also I'd also like to note that our public appointees to the Economic Development Committee spoke to me this morning, and indicated that they were not keen on having more members of council on the committee, because it felt that they would be marginalized. And this is not me approaching them, this is them approaching me, so you need to be aware of that too.
But if members want to sit on another committee, what is the harm? I'm not gonna sit on every committee, because I don't want, I'm not, there's not enough of my time to give, so like 40 hours a week. So I'm not gonna sit on the CEC, I'm not gonna go to the library, I'm gonna stay with what I have, but if another council member wants to go on something, then what's the problem?
Well, this motion, as I read it, would mean that the Economic Development Committee and the Planning Committee could now have additional members on it if this passes
Yes.
in a bylaw form, okay? So that's what's there. And what it would mean is that the mayor no longer has the prerogative to determine, you'll be on this committee, you'll be on that committee,
Just
and we're
these
gonna
two.
divide up the
What-
workload like
What it
this.
means is
It means
that
that
you
any
won't
member
be
of
able to
council-
block people from sitting on economic development or
That's
planning.
just where I was gonna go. I mean, we have two major committees, and historically, what we've tried to do is accommodate the members in terms of where their interests lie, and then after 2 years, give them the opportunity to get the experience on the other side of the table, so to speak. So it's part of succession plan, right? It means that people fully understand economic development and planning, which are two key areas that we have a lot of business in. But I understand exactly where this is gonna go, and that's okay, but that doesn't mean I'm in favor of it. Okay?
But
So let's make sure the motion is clear though, because if that's what you want, if you want any member of this council to be able to sit on these two committees
Yes.
going forward, then we've gotta make sure the wording is correct,
Yep.
which means you're gonna remove that
Yes.
10.6 or whatever
Yes.
the section is. Okay,
But,
then let's
Eric, it's
let's go forward with that. Do I need to read the motion, please?
It's
It
only
needs
two
to-
committees
that's
though.
To be removed,
That's what it says.
needs to be removed,
From the motion.
yes,
So you, sorry, I thought you want that to be taken out.
All that.
yes.
So
Take it
it says to
To
be
be
removed,
removed
so you have
from
to leave it
bylaw.
in.
So the
Oh.
economic development bylaw currently states appointment
I
of
see
regular
what you're
members
saying.
shall be at
Yes.
the direction of the
Okay.
mayor.
Yes.
So now, the motion the way it's read is proper,
Yeah.
if that's what
Okay.
you want.
I see what you're
Okay.
saying.
Yeah, but what the procedural bylaw does not state is that the appointments come here to council.
Well, then it needs to.
That's what happens.
I know, but
But
it
the
needs, we need
procedural
to
bylaw does
change
not
the
state.
procedural bylaw.
of stuff for you to change in
Yeah.
procedural bylaw.
We need to update the procedural bylaw.
It's a book.
There's some other stuff too.
I'm sorry, but.
So, yeah, so that stays in two then.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I didn't understand you were trying to remove
Okay,
it from somewhere
So
else.
we can move on down to the, I read this portion, I'm not gonna read it all again.
That makes
Bylaw
sense.
2017-57,
Makes sense now.
establish Economic Development Committee. Schedule A under administration be amended to read that the Economic Development Committee shall be comprised of any member of council who wishes to sit on the committee. These appointments are to be made by resolution of council. To be removed, appointment of regular members shall be at discretion of the mayor as per the procedural bylaw.
Yes,
Appointment of the at-large shall be for the term of council. Schedule A under administration be amended to read quorum shall be 50% plus one of the appointed members.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and sorry, I think I need to make a change, because we changed the wording for the term of council, but we want that, so it shouldn't be on the to be removed section.
No,
Oh, right,
It
yes.
says to be removed,
Yes,
so
that
we
looks
we
right.
want that to be
Yeah.
removed, but we want this part to be amended.
Question.
Okay.
Question?
Well, let's make sure we know what the wording is. Yes,
So what you've got
Councillor
up
Carr.
there is fine, okay, so, for example, now you've got that anyone can go anywhere. What about the pay structure now? Because, if, say, 9 of us wanna go on one committee.
well, the bylaw states that if 9 of you wanna go on the planning committee, for example, 9 of you are each gonna get an extra $1,000 in remuneration.
Yep.
Because that's the remuneration for that committee. If 9 of you wanna go on economic development, I believe the amount there is 600 or something like that. It's based on the number of meetings, Linda.
Well, no, but so in other words.
So there's a cost to this.
Not CECs or
So-
anything else, only these two.
One person, please. Linda.
No, I'm just, we had it before, we could sit on it, but there was only like 2 members that got paid or 1 member. But if you,
No, what we have on those 2 committees before was that 4 members were on each committee.
Yes.
And 4 members got paid. Anyone else was welcome to attend
yes.
as a member of the audience, for example, and that sort of thing. Now, what we did with the planning one was we added 2 people?
Yes.
Yeah, we added 2 people. So instead of 4, we now have 6.
7.
We had 3 people.
7, because I'm ex officio of every committee, so I'm not counting myself. So in economic development, again, we would currently have proposed to have 4, plus the mayor, okay? But under this, we have 2 other members who said they'd like to be on that, so we then go to 6. So there is a question of,
Basically, we get
What's-
paid to go to the meeting.
well,
Well, I realize, but it's, I don't know where the budget is for this.
well,
It'll be for next year.
it's going to cost more money. There's no if, buts, or maybes. If everybody says they want to be on a committee, and we have to put everybody on the committee, then everybody's going to get paid mileage plus the honorarium that goes with that committee appointment.
Save a lot of money.
And my,
Integrity.
and my point is, I
Investigations.
cannot support that for that reason. That's part of the reason I can't support
But
it.
it's not every.
Plus, I
it's
think,
just these two.
you know, if historically the mayor has always had that prerogative and has indicated the courtesy to have that discussion, then I'm not prepared to abandon that responsibility for myself or any future mayor. Okay? So, Councillor Carr, is that adequate
Well,
from your perspective?
Council, if they're paying you 200,
Let's,
that's not-
Councillor Dunfield, please.
oh, I know.
Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor Hutchings, and then I'm going to go to Councillor Maxwell, and then Jeff Banks,
Just that, how they just-
and Deputy Mayor Banks. Okay? And let's wrap this up, okay? Councillor Hutchings, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So back yonder when all this started and I was saying about take me off the committees, what I was trying to say to you was, I wanted to know, like, I don't care what I'm on, but I want to be on the lake committee. And that's what I was just trying to get across before, and it wasn't going across very well. And I like the 2 committees I'm on, and I don't care how many committees I'm on, it's what the ones I have interest in and I really like. I want to be on planning because you, Mr. Pollard, I wanted to be there so that I could kind of learn from him, because he knows the history of all, like North Crosby and all that, and that was my reasoning to be there. Like, I wasn't trying to like bully my way into to be anywhere, but I did like, and I like economic development too, but but I really like the lakes too, like, not particularly, I'm not gonna say I don't like the Cataraqui Trail, but if I had, I would rather, you know what I'm saying? And that's all that I was trying to say that day, but nobody was listening very well to me, and, so I just wanted to kind of sort of set that straight, like, I don't care what I'm on, and I know we have to divvy up the money to be fair with everybody, so we gotta be fair.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to Councillor Maxwell, then Councillor Jeff Banks, then Deputy Mayor Banks, then Councillor Carr.
Thank you,
Councillor
Worship.
Maxwell, please.
Okay, number 1, again, a recorded vote, just in Mary Ellen's time. I think maybe, I don't know, in simple terms to explain, I think where the mayor and Mary Ellen and the CAO's concern is, right now with planning, there's 7 of the 9 are on planning. So basically, it's already ratified. When it comes to council for approval, Linda, you and I can't change anything, they've already voted, they've already done it. So that's where the problem comes in with having so many on every committee.
Okay,
It should just-
that's your comment then?
Yep.
Okay, and Councillor Jepson, please.
So at planning, we have 8 members there, so if it's a 4-4 vote or a 5-3 vote, that could be 4 members of council and our appointed member. It's not ratified. It needs 5 to get ratified at council, and it can't be ratified at the planning committee, it has to be done at this table. So that idea is washed, because it doesn't make any sense, you know, that the vote's done.
Yeah,
So-
but I think what the reference is that most votes at committee level are unanimous. You know, occasionally you'll have one person going in a different direction, but most votes at committee are unanimous.
So,
when you
so
get that-
if there's 4 votes or 6 votes, what's the difference?
That's right, that's right.
There's
Then
no
it could
difference.
still
It's all gonna be
then it
unanimous.
still
It's
could
gonna
be
be the
decided
same.
by the 2 members who weren't on the
So
committee.
if we have 2 people that want to sit on economic development, the cost for the next year is $1,200. And if Councillor Maxwell wants to sit on planning, and I don't think she wants to, that's the cost to the municipality is $1,200 for next year. I think that if councillors don't have experience on the planning committee, they should sit on it. That's probably why I voted for that motion the last time, because it's good education for people to sit on these committees. The economic development, I don't have a problem with that one either. The Lake Association, I don't have a problem with that one. But if people want to sit on these committees, it's not like they're doing it for nothing. They're getting a small stipend for it. And the public has to understand that your driving, your time, and everything else is involved in this. And if they want to change it in 2 years, they can.
Deputy Mayor Banks, please.
I do think it is fair for everybody, because anybody that wants to sit on either one of these committees can sit on it. And it is minimal money, and it's not like you're getting paid just to get paid. You're getting paid to drive to Chantry and sit in a meeting. I really wanted to be on economic development, just like Debbie wanted to be on the Lake Association. I wasn't given that choice. That's why I brought the motion forward. I wanted to sit on planning. I had to fight to get there. It took weeks and weeks, and all these horror stories about having too many people and that everything was gonna go south. Nothing happened. And I think we actually functioned very well there with Joan as chair, probably more so than we do here. But again, I wanted on economic development and I was told no. So why? I have an interest in it. I've owned a business before. I represent lots of business owners. I should have a right to sit on economic development, and so should every councillor.
Councillor Carr.
Well, I'm just gonna throw a point in the nest here, but, because you've put me on that nonprofit housing, there can only be one person, because that's it.
That's
And-
because of the bylaw. That's the bylaw
That's the
that
bylaw in
established
their
that.
place.
Yeah.
And you can't just say you're coming to it, because it's really strictly confidential, kind of, that's the kind of thing. So that doesn't appeal, or that doesn't apply to that committee at all.
No.
It's only these two.
The only thing with this
So this
motion,
is all,
Just
this
Just
is
these
only
two.
economic
That's it.
development
And
and
planning.
planning
Because they're
Just these
council
two.
heavy.
because that is what staff was directed.
so you're not talking about the Lake Association,
No,
you're
no,
not
just
talking about
these
conservation.
two.
Not the
just
ones
this-
that have the majority of public
Yeah.
members, for example.
Okay,
Just these two.
I was trying to think of how, nobody.
No,
helped
just
you
these
out.
two.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
So staff has also been directed to gain feedback from everybody on
Yes.
what committees or boards you would like to be on. So I have to compile that information, so once you get that information, if there's something different, like more people want to be on the Lake Association Committee, then that's up to council if they want to change the establishing bylaw for the Lake Association Committee to allow the same parameters as this. But right now, it's just
Yeah.
planning and economic development.
That's it, yeah.
It's just
Okay.
these two committees.
I'm good.
But there
No,
should
no.
be another, okay,
Go ahead.
my idea right now is to get all the committees that we have, put it to each one of us, just like we did with that survey, and everybody take off what they want, and then we will all know what everybody wants, and then come back to say, well, I wanna be on the Lake Association.
But that's
Well,
what's,
let-
Yeah, but they're only saying those two.
That is
Right.
what I did when I
That's
had
the
my
next
individual
step.
meeting with
Yes,
people.
I know,
I
yes,
said,
yeah.
what would
I
you
know,
like,
I
what
know.
don't you want? And some people said, well, I definitely don't wanna be on this one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Mayor. and I
Okay, no, but
definitely
I'm
want
just
that."
trying to say, maybe somebody,
Yeah.
Mary
Well,
Ellen's
there may
doing
be-
that
there may
as
be
the
other,
next step.
you
but
know,
you're gonna do that.
We would have to go back and open up those particular bylaws, right, and change the mandate or change the commission. You know, the committees with, like, Heritage Advisory Committee, I'll use that one as an example. I mean, we have one member on there, one elected member. Mayor is ex officio, so could come if you know, those meetings are always on a date that I'm in Brockville. But, you know, the bulk of those people are community citizens, right? And the idea is that the community citizens then, and the member of council brings back that message from that group, right? It's not, you know, they would not want, you know, 6 or 7 or 5 or 4 members of council to be on that committee. You know, I don't imagine that that's the case. So this is why we're focusing right now
Just on-
on the two major
these two.
committees
Yeah.
that are dominated by public elected officials. Now, on the planning one, we have 1 public member. On the economic development, we have 2 public members. And they're going to be there for the duration of the term of council. Okay?
I guess I misunderstood. It's the two, just the two committees.
Just
we're
these two,
talking about.
yeah.
Okay? All right, are we ready to move forward?
No.
Madam
I
Clerk?
just would like more clarification around section 10.6, which was
Correct.
in there to be removed, which is the duty of the mayor to appoint.
I
So
would
I'm no
like-
longer going to be
I
appointing anybody.
would like that removed for these two committees. That, it's the same as,
So,
I don't know why it's so
My,
different.
my suggestion would be that section be amended, so he still does what he's
Yes.
doing,
Okay.
but it includes that the appointments are to be made by resolution of council.
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll do
I have the wording for that, so.
it. We'll do a merge.
All it says is that bylaw 2023-48 be amended as follows. Section
Yes.
10.6 be amended to include that the appointments are to be made by resolution of council.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay?
Perfect.
So I'm still supposed to do it, but I'm not going to be able to do it.
No, you're still.
No,
gonna-
you still, I'm gonna suggest you would still recommend, I guess.
Yeah.
A resolution would still come
Which
forward.
is what I already did.
If
and it was
council
still-
members
This
really-
is just making it,
Yes, if council members
Legit.
want to sit on here, you should let them.
Okay. Any further discussion? Then I'm going to ask the clerk to call a vote. As I said before, I will not be supporting this motion.
Yeah, no.
And work well on
Right.
I'm getting tired.
I lost Jeff, so I just can't. I'm gonna fly tomorrow. Sleep in.
You'll have to modify this
Yeah.
motion because it's been
Mr.
changed
Mayor?
again.
Councillor Hutchins.
Okay, quickly, before we call the vote. Once we call the vote, we don't have any further discussion.
No, I
Go
know.
ahead.
Because I had a member today come and ask me the same thing about a whole bunch of us council being on the thing, and they would be outvoted or out, whatever. How would that work? Like, would they,
Anyone
wind it
that's-
down, they wouldn't be able to talk?
Oh, no,
No.
no, I mean, they still have their votes.
Same with
and
planning.
But you said, what do you say? You said,
They
put it in
felt
your
that they
words.
would be marginalized.
Yes.
That they would, you know, that right now, you know,
Only if we
there's
did
there's 2 appointed, 2 members, and I think there's, how many councillors? 3
sorry, on which
on
committee?
economic development?
It's supposed to be 4 plus yourself.
4.
Do we
Okay.
marginalize the person
So,
on planning?
you know, again, I'm just providing the feedback that was provided to me.
Well, it was to me too. That's
Was it
why
to you too? Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. How would, I just asked you a question, how would we be marginalizing them if there was more on?
You'd
Because
have to ask them, I
like, I
don't know.
didn't quite understand.
They just felt that, you know, that perhaps their suggestions would not be taken as seriously if there was more members of council on there. I don't know.
I think, and again, I was talking to Ken, and you can see that there's 9 people around the table, and the conversation goes on a lot longer, and a quieter member may not get that much airtime, if you will. So it's just committee size, is the more people at a table, the less some speak. The smaller a group is, the more people speak.
Geez, I don't know, George Bracken is really quiet,
All
but he
right.
seems to get a lot in, doesn't he?
It's good?
Yes,
Okay,
and then I
Joe.
still want to
Yes.
talk at the end or something.
Well,
He's got
Must be on the agenda.
connection.
Well, it was.
Okay. Madam Clerk, I think you need to call the vote.
Okay. Councillor Jeff Banks,
Yes.
Councillor Carr,
I don't even know how to vote this time, I really don't. Yes.
Councillor Delaney,
Yes.
Councillor Dunfield,
Yes?
I guess I did okay.
Councillor Hutchings,
I'd say yes.
Councillor Maxwell,
No.
Councillor Pollard,
No.
Deputy Mayor Paula Banks,
Yes.
Mayor Hoogamoo.
No. Motion is carried. All right, are we through this part of the